I did. Thank you. The October 7th regular meeting of the Louis Riel School Division Board of Trustees will be called to order by myself, Irene Nordheim, currently acting chair of the LRSD Board of Trustees. We will welcome Sandy Nemeth and Pam Kolachuk online, and welcome to our guests and folks in the audience. I'm going to ask if you could stand if you're able, so we can have a moment of silence to be observed for a parent from our community who passed away. Thank you. Now I ask if we could have the land acknowledgement read by Trustee Palmer.
Yes.
Palmquist, sorry.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna stay seated for this if it's all right.
Yes.
So. I'm gonna read another personalized land acknowledgement, which is what I was sort of taught to do and by my wife's class. And when they created their personalized land acknowledgements, I was privileged to hear. I was born in Vancouver, British Columbia on the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. I live today in Treaty 1 territory in the St. Mattel neighborhood, an historic Métis community in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. I own land in the historic territory of the present day Roseau River First Nation around a river renamed in French for the Ganashu Shushkawawi CP, the Anishinaabe word meaning reed in French of the same meaning. I serve as a trustee in a division named for Louis Riel, the officially recognized first premier of Manitoba, and the historic and spiritual leader of the Métis Nation. And I professionally work in a field of addictions and homelessness, which is serving a predominantly Indigenous population amongst the under the governorship of the Reaching Home Indigenous Funding Partnership from the federal government. I commit as part of my work here as a trustee and in all aspects of my life to honoring the First Peoples of the land and doing my part as an individual and professionally to advance reconciliation.
Thank you. We'd like to welcome everyone participating in this hybrid meeting. Board meetings follow a formal structure where the work of the board is conducted in a public setting that gathers parents, students, staff, and other community members. As chair, it's my duty to preserve order and decorum at all times. All in-person and verified virtual attendees are reminded to observe the procedural bylaws and to engage in a respectful and orderly manner. I'd like to remind everyone there is a 15-minute public question period at the end of the meeting when verified virtual participants and verified in-person participants can bring forward questions for clarification regarding items on today's agenda. If your questions are not related to tonight's agenda, please reach out to the division by emailing info@lrsd.net. Finally, please be aware that we audio record board meetings for accuracy, and that there is a link to the live stream of the meeting being made available on the division's website. Unless approved, other photographs, personal recordings, audio, visual, or otherwise are not permitted. I'd like to affirm our vision and mission. Our vision is for all members of our community to excel as caring, confident, capable, and resilient lifelong learners who contribute to a democratic and sustainable world. Our mission is to provide a safe, inclusive, engaging environment where personal and collective learning are valued and each one of us reaches our full potential. The approval of agenda for the regular board meeting, October 7th, 2025. Could I have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Ian Walker, mover, seconder, Paulo Seminola. And that's the voting. All in favor?
Popping up in a second.
Here we go.
I wasn't clicked on. So, yes.
I'm in favor.
Thank you. Ms. Nemeth?
Yep.
Yep, great, thank you very much. And the approval of minutes of the regular board meeting, September 16th, 2025. There were no edits brought forward, and so if no changes are required, the September 16th minutes will be accepted as distributed. And now we have a timed item, and I would ask Superintendent Michalek and Secretary Treasurer Radnicki introduce our guest who's to be speaking this evening.
Yeah, you can.
I can do it. Sure. I'd like to welcome Sean Whithead. He is the Manager of Public Sector Solutions with KPMG Canada. And we have engaged KPMG Canada to do a review of our vocational and our vocational programming and our Real Arts and Technology Center under Strategic Action Item 3.6 in our multi-year strategic plan. And so Sean comes from Ontario, and so I'd like to welcome him to the meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Thank you for this opportunity to share tonight with the board how we framed up the project as described by the Secretary Treasurer. Tonight, I'm here to speak on the work KPMG has engaged on by Louis Riel School Division to undertake a programming review for practical arts programming across the school division, and also to support future planning for Arts and Technology Center programming. Next slide, please. Okay. And as part of this work, KPMG is undertaking a 4-phase approach towards providing practical recommendations back to the school division. In imagining the possible at Arts and Technology Center, we're looking for a programming complement that is future oriented, that prepares its students for future career and educational success, both in Winnipeg and elsewhere across the province. In further aligning with the trajectory of the labor market, we are also examining what similar institutions are doing, what type of programs are they running, so that the school division can pinpoint where it may add value while minimizing duplication of effort across the system. We also understand the importance of financial viability in program delivery, which I will briefly speak to on the next slide before passing it back over for any respective questions. Oh,
sorry, we actually got the. We'll come up in a second.
Just talking about vision earlier today, but mine's starting to come off of 2020. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Okay, so we are exploring a series of revenue drivers at KPMG, and ultimately these are the various ways in which ATC can generate revenue. Okay, we have identified among them a few that we see as viable for a deeper dive to explore. So more specifically, these opportunities are in making ATC programming even more accessible and relevant to adult learners by further engaging in partnerships, or also while further engaging in partnerships with our schools and school divisions. So 2 drivers that I also wanted to mention, one of those being community investment. such as through taxation. And then secondly, direct provincial funding. And on the provincial funding piece, this is being explored as they are the main contributor of funding for cost of delivery for the senior year students at ATC. And also we're exploring this in part because with that funding, there's the belief that there is a public good and value inherent in public education. So we're just embarking on that work now. And so with that said, I just wanted to again thank the board tonight for this opportunity to provide you this very short update on the work that we've been embarking on with the school division. And I'm happy to receive any questions, and I yield back to the chair.
Thank you. Do you have any questions from trustees? Turner?
You are going to be bringing a further in-depth analysis of what you've started on, correct?
Yeah, so the final deliverable as part of the work that we've been engaged on is to produce a final report with recommendations back to the school division.
Can I just
Yes.
follow up that? In the blue, you have the domestic and you have the partnerships, sorry. Are these like, what would be the percentage or is this something you're still exploring, the percentage of the domestic tuition fees?
So these are highlighted because they are particular areas of focus. And KPMG is not yet in a position to speak to any proposals.
Okay, great.
Trustee Simonyola, did you have a question? I have a question, if you don't mind. As part of your exploration, are you comparing our technical vocational work with other institutions in the province and in other provinces?
As part of our analysis, we are doing comparisons with financial data wherever it might be available to us, as well as other publicly available data.
Thank you. Any questions? Sure. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
We appreciate the fact that we're getting to touch base with you as you start this process, and as you continue on, we'll look forward to the final report.
Thank you, Chair. It's my
Thanks very much for your
pleasure.
time. Feel free to stay. It's very.
I haven't had dinner yet. So I might be leaving soon.
Yeah, no, thank you for your time. We'll move on to number 4, LRSD News. And we're going to have news, first of all, from Trustee Walker.
Okay, thank you. All right, first thing in my news here is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. On September 30th, Canadians from coast to coast observed the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. This day honors the survivors of residential schools, their families and communities, while also acknowledging the tragic legacy and lasting impacts of residential schools. Across the Louis Riel School Division, many schools shared on social media the learning and activities they engaged in with students to deepen an understanding of this history and the importance of reconciliation. From classroom discussions to creative projects and reflective gatherings, students were given meaningful opportunities to reflect on our shared responsibility to learn the truth and work toward reconciliation. My family marked the day by supporting a group of children from the Spence neighborhood, helping them ride their bikes to the Orange Shirt Day March from the Forks to the Convention Center and joining them in the march. On October 1st, the Educators for Climate Action hosted a bike bus ride to the 2nd annual Divisional Treaty Education PD. They invited me to come along with them. I wasn't able to join them, and it looks like they had a good turnout. The riders departed from École Saint Germain, making use of a couple of our neighborhood greenways, recently traffic calm streets in the St. Vital and St. Boniface neighborhoods. And earlier on September 25th, the Educators for Climate Action organized a walking PD tour of 3 Garden City homes to explore community climate action projects. The tour highlighted the work of grade 6 to 8 students who designed and installed tall grass prairie gardens on. So I'm just highlighting that because that's a group that I've been involved with that are doing really interesting work in our division and elsewhere. The next thing is École Henri Bergeron, École Provencher Terry Fox Walk. My youngest son filled me in on the walk they participated in on September 25th. The Henri Bergeron students and the École Provencher students held a joint walk to continue Terry Fox's Marathon of Hope. My youngest son proudly told me how the Bergeron students helped the younger Provencher students complete the walk. He said some of them got to hold hands. It's kind of cute. Terry Fox's goal in 1980 was to raise $1 for every Canadian, and his legacy has since inspired Canadians to contribute over 700 million cancer research. So he's just a really remarkable human being. And I haven't had the chance to visit the inside of the new Sage Creek School yet, but I had a chance to see the outside of it the other day. I was at the pump track in Sage Creek with my kids. And I was just really impressed with despite not having a play structure yet, it looked like the playground was a lot of fun. There was things painted on the ground, places for kids to play. There was sandboxes with rocks around them. And it was just, when a new school gets built, you want the play structure to go up quickly, but I really felt like the space was quite nice. So it was nice to get a chance to walk around the school and see all the things the kids are up to during the day. And a particular interest to me was just seeing all the walking paths that went out the back of the school around the pump track. Looks like there's lots of great outdoor spaces for the kids to enjoy there. So I just wanted to bring that up. So thanks so much.
Thank you. And now from CB leadership team, provided by Assistant Superintendent Gunther.
Thank you. Greetings from the Glenlaw County Schools. I'll start with Samuel Berland. And so they began this year with great energy and a smooth start. Students and staff quickly settled into routine, setting a positive tone for the months ahead. In mid-September, the school engaged in some meaningful learning on truth and reconciliation. And to symbolize their learning, they displayed orange rocks that you can see here with messages of hope. They created catchers to honor Indigenous being and knowing, supporting the resurgence of these teachings. And building on this, grade 7 and 8 students led an initiative that you can see a little further down. They placed orange shirts around the schoolyard, each sharing information about the residential schools. And they linked to QR codes so that community could come through and get some more information by clicking on it. They felt that these experiences fostered empathy, awareness, a strong sense of community, reflecting the school's commitment to inclusion and belonging. To St. George School. They also began this year with a strong momentum, focusing on routines, classroom treaties, and relationship building through the first 6 weeks of school framework, which is found in the responsive classroom. This work has fostered trust, belonging, and student voice across all grades, honored the Terry Fox's Marathon of Hope with a school-wide run, collectively covering 1,974 kilometers, which is nearly the distance from Winnipeg to Toronto. The school's cross-country flag and football teams are thriving, with many students achieving personal bests and showing strong teamwork. A major highlight was the opening of the new outdoor learning space that you can see there, which is in St. George Park, celebrated with Councillor Brian Mays, Trustee Sigurdsson and Palmquist, and myself were there. Grade 6 student you can see is presenting in that picture, who delivered a heartfelt and quite powerful speech that was featured on CTV and Winnipeg Free Press. I would suggest that you look out for his name because he is certainly a budding leader. The space is already in daily use, particularly by kindergarten classes who learn and play their rain or shine. And then on September 29th, the school gathered for an Orange Shirt Day assembly, which was led by grade 5 and 6 students. They shared stories of understanding. They guided the school in a collective expression of what it means to be a caring, connected citizen. And they acknowledged both the history and ongoing impact of residential schools. On to Windsor. So Windsor Schools and staff gathered for a school-wide assembly led by Indigenous education team member Judy Saunders, followed by a community walk in recognition of truth and reconciliation. A highlight of this assembly was a video presentation which was created by grade 8 students featuring a school-wide read aloud of the book With Our Orange Hearts. The school also created a collaborative art display that you can see here, inspired by the story When the Stars Came Home, which was shared with every class. Each student has been invited to contribute a star to this display, reflecting on what home means to them. This project is intended to deepen students' understanding of belonging, family, and community, and invites reflection on the importance of creating safe, caring spaces where all children feel that they belong, which is an essential aspect of truth and reconciliation. Over to Glenwood School. In Glenwood, grade 5 and 6 students have been actively demonstrating generosity and leadership. So for example, they help prepare and deliver bins for the daily snack program, ensuring that all students have what they need to feel supported and ready to learn. They're also mentoring younger peers in phys ed and music classes, helping everyone feel confident and included. And they've also taken initiative at recess by setting up soccer nets to encourage play, teamwork, and connection across all the grades. Twice a month, classrooms are sharing their learning and talents during school-wide assemblies, including Orange Shirt Day, which strengthens community connections, leadership skills. Looking ahead, they have an exciting initiative by the grade 7 and 8 students who are preparing a student leadership team. And that team is going to guide school-wide projects, cultivate generosity, and build a culture of belonging, model and serve as role models. So they've got a great task ahead of them. And then finally at Dr. Penner School, that also began with energy and community spirit. That seems to be a theme for all of our schools opening up. So exciting. So alongside active sports teams and clubs, the school launched a new breakfast program led by the Administrative Secretary McMillan, with strong support from staff and students. To welcome grade 7 and 8 students, the school hosted a 2-day retreat at Camp Manitou focused on work, friendship and connection with zip lining, archery, and nature walks on beautiful territory, Treaty 1 land. The parent, just kind of talk about the advisory council. The Penner Advisory Council brought families together for a joyful community barbecue, complete with popular turkey trot races, which I have not seen, but I certainly would like to see that at some point. Winners took home turkeys and pumpkin pies, and then on September 26th, the school honored Terry Fox's legacy with a walk, run, roll to the Forest classroom, raising funds and awareness for cancer research. The event was attended by trustees Nemeth and Nordheim and myself, who joined students and staff in celebrating Terry's message of hope and perseverance. To recognize Orange Shirt Day, grade 7 and 8 students led meaningful learning for younger ones, a day of reflection, connection, and shared bannock, reflecting the school's ongoing commitment to truth, reconciliation, and community.
Thank you. Finance and audit. 5.1, capital reserves. I'll turn that over to Secretary Treasurer Rudnicki.
Thank you very much. On an annual basis, we will provide a motion that supports the allocation of dollars to support renewal of our bus fleet. And so this is part of budget. However, a separate motion is required. And so for this year, we are setting aside $725,000 from our surplus to increase our bus reserve. Typically, we upgrade 3 buses a year as a refresh for our transportation department. And so these dollars will help support the refresh of 3 buses. And so that's the report for reserve accounts.
So we have a motion then that the sum of $725,000 be approved for transfer from the unappropriated surplus to the capital fund to increase the bus reserve. I have a mover and a seconder. Mover Ian Walker, seconder Cindy Turner. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, well, 2 questions actually. So the first one is, what's the general lifespan of a bus?
And so it really depends on obviously the wear and tear of the vehicle, but typically we have buses that are on the road for 15 years or so. So that's the typical lifespan of a bus.
And if I could, my
Yep.
second question is, have we done any exploration of electrifying our bus fleet?
Yeah, that's actually a great question, Trustee Walker. With the recent purchase of our land at 3280 St. Mary's Road, one of the opportunities that could come about with purchasing that land is looking at different ways of diversifying our fleets. At our current location at National, we have no ability to do anything of the sort. And so that is something that, once we get operationalized, we can look into and how that can look in not only L'Oreal, but in the province.
I have two, so, after that 15 years, the value is that 1,900 for salvage value after?
Scrap,
use?
yeah.
Okay, just for scrap. So this 725, is it for transfer now, or is it for the year that already ended in the last?
It's the year that already
It's
ended.
happened.
Yeah, it already happened. So when you pass the budget for 24-25, year and a half ago now, maybe 2 years, in budget was $725,000 that we could use to purchase new buses. Now, this is formalizing it in order to support the financials that you'll and the community will see at the end of the month.
Any other questions? And I'll call for the vote. We get our online folks?
Yep, everyone's in.
Okay.
Came up, vote closed.
Pardon?
Just came up, vote closed, but
Yeah.
my hand is up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll make sure that you're in. My apologies, Trustee Sigurdson.
And we'll continue on with Secretary Treasurer, the carry forward report.
Yeah, so every year, in conjunction with our year-end audit, I provide a report to the trustees in regards to dollars that, unspent dollars that have occurred in the prior school year. So for this year, it'd be the 24-25 school year, that I'm recommending to bring forward to spend for this current school year. And these are typically tied to grants external grants that we receive, whether that's provincial or federal dollars or private grants. And so for this year, I make a recommendation to carry forward a total of $54,384. And what that relates to are federal and provincial grants that we've been granted and haven't been completely spent yet.
So the motion would be that the board approve the carry forward report as provided. I'll need a mover and a seconder for that. Trustee Walker, Trustee Turner. Any questions on the report? And I'll call for the vote. Okay. Yep. Thank you. And last one. You on the hot seat?
Yeah.
They will provide a context to the trustee professional development report.
Yeah, so this is an annual report I provide to the trustees on trustee professional development and the activities that the trustees have done from the past year. And so each year, trustees are allocated a budget to help support professional development activities to enhance their governance capacity and deepen their understanding of educational issues. And so for the 2024-2025 school year, the opportunities included trustees going to the Canadian School Board Association Conference, the Canadian Congress of Black Parliamentarians, the National School Board Association Conference, Care for All Education Conference, as well as purchasing of books and other education materials. So I just wanted to bring that report to the board today.
Thank you very much. Now, chair information to the board, just bringing to your attention that MSBA has provided us, along with the other school boards in the province, with a survey regarding student representation or involvement. So we'll be putting that survey together, the answers as to The last time this was done was 2019. And so it's time to kind of take a look and see what other boards are doing and where we're at in terms of that. Question?
Just a quick remark, it reminds me of the presentation that a number of students gave here not long ago, and this board heard a fantastic presentation from some very passionate students who have a lot to say on student voice, and I recall that our board was committed to engage with them, and so I'm happy to see that this opportunity is coming up to follow through on that.
And so MSAPDA will provide us with feedback from all the surveys that are gathered and take that under advisement for our movement forward. The next piece of news is just for your information, point of pride for Louis Riel. Every time that we have an opportunity to have our professionals involved in provincial organizations, that's a moment for Louis Riel to talk about what we're doing here and for our teacher leaders and others to have the opportunity to spread the news kind of thing. And so we're proud to share with you that Alex Pineda has been appointed president of the Student Services Administrators from across Manitoba, and that we also have a representative, Amber Zadarek, who will represent Metro Winnipeg. So that's two folks from our division involved in a provincial organization. Any questions or comments? We just extend our thanks to them for going above and beyond, frankly, so that's great. And now we'll turn to our senior leadership team, provide information to the board. The first one being capital projects update. I believe that's our superintendent.
We can share a link to a message that has gone out to the J.H. Bruns Collegiate community for folks online who are students, families, or staff at J.H. Bruns Collegiate. We were happy to announce that the addition and modernization project is moving into the design phase. Now, some in reading this might have said, well, I thought we've already gone through a design phase, and what we've been through with the community to get us here is a conceptual design phase. The design we're talking here is about a shovel-ready design. That is the necessary next step in the project. Again, it was exciting to announce to the community that province is moving forward with the project.
Questions?
Really excited that we're getting to this point. I had been kind of looking through some work that had been done in 2022. There was a Class D estimate given. I was just wondering what the difference is between what happened, what was announced in 2022 and now what's happening. In a big cost increase, is the design changing a lot, or is it
So that conceptual design helped us to expedite the work here, in that the province has a concept from which to work. Essentially, what's been approved for design from the province looks a lot like what we've conceptualized. Same number of classrooms, the learning commons that we can see here in the image that was shared earlier. The differences are around the library, where rather than a new library, we're looking at those additional classrooms. But overall, the square footage is actually somewhat is bigger than what we were conceptualizing. So it's all very positive, good news.
Trustee Simonyoa?
or this might be premature, but I'll ask it anyway. I know the last time we were talking about this before the funds came in, we were targeting maybe 16 months between the time that all the engineering drawings or blueprints are ready to getting this completed. Do we have an idea on what the timeline is gonna look like for this one? Or is it-
I'm hoping we'll follow a timeline similar to the one we did for Collège Jean Sauvé, the Collège Jean Sauvé edition, where we were able to get shovels in the ground the year after design and within a year. We had the spaces available for occupancy.
Are we gonna share some kind of roadmap, I guess, in the next few weeks with community between the community consultation and everything else that follows after?
What we will share with community is that through this design process, engagement, as we did with the Collège Jean Sauvé community and community at in our new school that's just opened its doors in Sage Creek, and through that community involvement, engagement in design, that will eventually lead to clarity from government about when we can expect shovels in the ground, and then of course throughout that project there'll be constant updates provided as to the timelines.
Any other questions? We'll move on to 7.2, and I'll turn to Assistant Superintendent Anderson to share the impact of our Winnipeg Transit service.
Thank you. As you'll recall, Winnipeg Transit implemented significant changes to its network on June 29th. Following the release of the fall timetable in late August, LRSD surveyed families in early September to determine the impact of the network configuration on travel to and from school. Of the 344 families who responded to the survey, an overwhelming number, 91.9%, reported dissatisfaction or high dissatisfaction with the new service, with dissatisfaction rates particularly high in Island Lakes, Bonavista, Sage Creek, and portions of River Park South. Results from the survey were shared with Winnipeg Transit and the community via a spotlight story. I am happy to report that we have heard back from Winnipeg Transit, and they have indicated general plans to add buses to routes serving schools that are currently experiencing capacity issues. More specifically, Route 557 that operates through Island Lakes and Bonavista is on the list for this additional service, with an extra weekday bus in the morning and another in the afternoon. These additions will take effect when the winter schedule begins on December 14th. Recognizing the need for a more timely solution, LRSD's Transportation Department has been offering service to families. We are using a two-phased approach. In phase one, we have been offering families unused spaces on existing routes. Communications have been sent to families at 3 elementary schools, Niagara Place School, École Van Bellingham, and École Sage Creek Bonavista, and 2 high schools, Glenlawn Collegiate and Collège Jean Sauvé. And in those communities, to families residing in specific neighborhoods. The second phase of the initiative will see the addition of new bus routes from Bonavista, Island Lakes, and Sage Creek to Collège Béliveau and J.H. Bruns Collegiate. Communication to these families is scheduled to be sent later this week, with a launch date of service in early November.
Trustee Walker?
I just wanted to express my gratitude for all the work that you folks have done. Senior admin team reaching out to the community and finding out what the problems are and communicating that to transit and coming up with short and long term. Thank you.
We can all agree with that.
Definitely.
Thank you. very much. Oh, Pam, sorry. Trustee Kolachuk?
Yep, thanks, trustee Nordheim. I want to also express my appreciation for everything that the division is doing in order to help kids get to school, especially in the southeast area of Winnipeg, where buses have been an issue to begin with. So I know that we will have lots of happy parents when that email comes out. But can you confirm when the start date is that is going to be for the bus option? I thought I heard November 1st, but I'm not 100% sure because it was muffled.
Oh, sorry, it will be early November. I don't have a specific date at this time, but we're aiming for early November.
Okay.
The first would be a Saturday, so the earliest would be the 3rd. And
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, and parents will be informed by email. The email that parents will be receiving is asking them to apply for a paid seat service, a fee for service transportation application. And when parents complete that, then when the application is approved, they'll receive a bus pass letter that gives details of the stop location and pick up and drop off times.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. 7.3 impact of full day kindergarten dashboard.
Yeah, why don't we point to that dashboard for those joining us online? So it takes you to a spotlight story. That link actually takes you to a spotlight story. So you click again on any of the links, and that will bring you to our data hub. And there's a message there every time you go to the data hub that we are always looking at our data with curiosity and humility, and always with the goal to refine the data, find the imperfections, and note that we had some mistakes related to enrollment data that needed fixing, and we're transparent about that. So lots of dashboards. We'll go to the full day K one, FDK. Click on it. And you likely have had a chance to explore it as trustees. So I'll walk us through it quickly. You have here a Power BI report that provides the community, you and the community, with some important analysis of this significant investment on the board's part, $2,571,469 last year to implement full day K in all our schools. So it's an impact analysis. So when we go to the first page of the report, we get a sense of who was surveyed. We had 60 teachers respond to the survey and 375 parents, and information about those two groups of respondents. We have on the next page the overall impression for parents relative to full day kindergarten. So very positive to somewhat positive is the overwhelming response. The impact on daily routines as well for many parents, it's made their lives easier. And then you get a cloud-based analysis of a lot of the descriptive feedback they provided us relative to their lived experience. Next page, we have how students did adjusting to full day kindergarten according to teachers. And we can even here compare smaller class sizes to larger class sizes, although the largest class size in kindergarten is slightly over 20, and so we're really talking about, even in the largest instance, really good class size. But we wanted to know if class size, how class size might influence how students invested. So of according to teachers, according to parents. We then went on to ask questions related to the impact on students according to teachers. And here again, one can, so I'm on to the next page right here. And we can, and so you can actually look at this is the overall impact, but you can look at a given impact and see how it changes the metrics. For example, if on the bottom left, if I want to just look at improve social emotional skills, the second row of information, and click on it, we can see how the levels of agreement for teachers changes relative to that specific impact measure. So what I'm doing here is just encouraging trustees and those online to engage with the Power BI reports that are interactive. Or the next page was the impact on students according to parents. And we can compare programs, English versus French immersion, and the child's first language, English versus another language, and see how the levels of growth according to parents compares. We then can move on to the next page. What was the impact on teachers? And look at what was said. How teachers felt full day K allowed for more land-based learning, outdoor education, for example, or play-based learning, allowed them to build relationship with families more quickly, etc. A long list of impacts. But we were, so as much as we want to know about the lived experience, and for the most part it's positive, we knew we would need to pull from people what the challenges are. So the next series of questions are related to the implementation challenges. So we didn't shy away from actually asking those questions of teachers, asking those questions of parents. What were the challenges? And so here we have what was expressed about challenges to finally lead to a page that touches, that highlights the recommendations that have come out of this first year study of the impact of full day kindergarten. And so we have recommendations that we've worked on that were incorporated in budget for this year. And so now we're curious. We will be curious to learn from kindergarten teachers about the lived experience in the second year. So you can expect another report at the end of this year. We're also moving to ask grade 1 teachers about this cohort that we're learning about this evening. So these kindergarten teachers that this report is all about are now in grade 1. And we want to know about that lived experience, both for students, their parents, caregivers, and teachers. And so you can expect that report coming your way by the end of the year. And my hope is, although I likely won't be around for it, is that cohort, as it moves through to grade 12, that cohort that's in grade 1, my hope is that for those of us who will be around when that cohort is in grade 12, that we will have had this we will have the wherewithal to have a longitudinal study following this cohort along. I'm serious, I'm really not kidding. About relative to the impact of this very important investment. And hopefully it doesn't take 12 years to convince the provincial government to implement universal full day K for everyone. I'm done.
Thank you. I was gonna hope that your health was gonna hang in there, but 12 years, I wasn't.
No, you're not expecting that.
I can't do that. 7.4, a little overview of the highlights of our leadership team, September 18th.
Yeah, so if I again help my presentation with a little bit of visual eye candy, let's just go to slide 19. So we spent the morning as leaders, school and system leaders, the entry survey. We spent the morning thinking about, or continuing to think about and develop our project-based learning for the. So I've talked to you now for a couple of meetings about our monthly meetings and how what I want them to be is time and space for each of us to learn as leaders, to be learners with each other, and to be teachers to each other. And that learning is about, of course, ourselves as leaders, our practice, but of course, we want that learning to impact our classroom, to impact. So when you think of a classroom as a principal of a school, your classroom essentially are your teachers. When you think of your classroom as a superintendent, your classroom are the principals and vice principals in a school. These are the ways I think that we can be most impactful on students whose teachers are teachers in the school. So it is about defining your circle of influence, where you matter most, where you can have the most impact, thinking about that community you're of service. And this project of yours that's about your leadership capacity, it better be about impacting your classroom, having impact on your classroom. And it is the idea of a project, so that the learning actually be something very tangible. So all of us are expected by the end of the year to have a project, something tangible that shows the impact of our learning, and we're going to share that with each other. So we used again. So the day was spent thinking about our projects, and we were inspired by Justice Sinclair's 4 essential questions from his most recent book that's being read by many of us in LRSD. The questions being, who am I? Where am I from? Who is my community? In this instance, the who am I is who am I as a leader? Where am I from? Who do I serve? What is my community? We're thinking of the school. We're thinking of our teachers relative to their students. Where am I going? Where are we going? And goodness, what's the 4th question? There were some that you were with me on that day, and it just escaped me. But I can find it right away. Who am I? I think I said who am I, right?
Where am I now? Where am I now?
Yeah, where do I come from? Where am I going? Why am I here? And who am I? Those are the 4 essential questions from his book. And so when we, so in the morning, we ended the morning able to respond to an entry survey. And essentially the entry survey asked folks to describe their learning, their focus, let us know about their confidence relative to all of this, because I can imagine that some of you are wondering, what is he going on about? This is a rather unique way of approaching leadership meetings, the bringing together of school and divisional leaders. We asked what it would take to raise your confidence level relative to this idea of project-based learning as leaders, and what supports you would need. And then finally, we ended the day by asking folks to define their driving question relative to their learning. We asked folks to let us know what skills, knowledge they're developing, what they would need from others to learn, what they want others to teach them, and what you want, and what they have what each of us has as skills and knowledge to teach others. We asked folks to think about the success criteria relative to their learning, their project, the data they would look to as evidence. And so the next step is about just that. How will we be learners and teachers to each other? And so we wanted folks to start thinking about some triads they would be a part of. The idea is going forward, I'm working on my project and I can expect to be a teacher along with someone else of a school leader who is a learner. And reciprocally, I can expect others to be teachers for me. I can expect a principal and a vice principal to welcome them into a triad being my teachers as a learner. And so I'm excited about where this is all going. It is pushing the envelope. It's ambitious work. It's taken us a while so people are really taking part. It's people couldn't get to the exit survey in the ways they wanted. They needed more time. And so having done the homework myself, I know just how much I'm asking of people here in providing answers to these questions. But I have to say, I'm so impressed by how engaged everyone is. I'll be excited. I'm looking forward to reporting back how this journey goes for us all. So if you're a part of the retreat later this month, the leadership retreat, you'll get to witness it for yourself because the journey continues.
Any questions? I have one. Was there any parameters having to do with the multi-year strategic plan?
Of course, and all of it connected to the MYSB. So at the heart of it all is the multi-year strategic plan and one, if not more, of the 25 strategic.
Okay. That wasn't mentioned, that's why
No,
I'm
I
just
should, yes,
clarifying.
but there's a slide.
Thank
I
you.
just skipped over it.
Nope, that's great. 7.5, just an overview of the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation and some reading recommendations.
Yeah, so really quickly, again, an opportunity for me to highlight the amazing work we're doing, sharing our journey with the community. So on the website, you have an overview of the reconciliation, the truth and reconciliation activities in schools. And so you have a long list of schools that have provided us with highlights from their learning journey this year. And you have a great video that we put together as well. We have an amazing list of reading recommendations. Another link, if we go back to the meeting agenda. So here I need to celebrate Kathy Atkin and the tremendous work she does. Kathy and her team, our divisional librarian, providing resources to staff and students. It's just amazing to see. I just wanted to celebrate that. Thanks.
7.6, the reflecting together on treaty education and learning journey. If I could just speak to it before you give an overview. In case you weren't aware, the speaker who was scheduled for the morning of the Treaty Day was delayed by Air, surprisingly, by Air Canada in Toronto. And that was given to our senior admin team the night before. And I just want to say it's pretty amazing to have that kind of ability to make sure the day goes on ahead and to not look like you were, pulling your hair out at the same time. So on behalf of the board, congratulations to pulling off a really good morning of learning under very difficult circumstances. I just wanted to have that out there first, before you speak to the rest of the day.
Thank you. So here again, I want to point to the website where we've captured the date. So as Trustee Nordheim mentioned, we're so grateful to both Kevin Chief and Negan Sinclair. They were tremendous. They did an amazing job bringing to life treaty and how what we aspire to do in LRSD when thinking of our land acknowledgement, when thinking of our multi-year strategic plan. We are essentially on a journey of truth and reconciliation, and on a journey to respect treaty, have treaty be the lived experience across the school division. And so they brought a tremendous urgency to the work. Kevin, through his personal story, and Negan through his work with so many in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Negan will be working with us the course of the year. So I'll have more to share of the work, of that work. His next time with us will be next week at our leadership retreat. So again, if you're there as trustees, you'll get a chance to connect with Negan. So that was the morning at the convention center. You could see the video that was showing what 3,000 people, over 3,000 people, what that looks like when we're all together, which is also quite something to witness, just how many we are in LRSD. And in the afternoon, we were together still, but in our smaller communities of culture, schools and board office teams. Moving to action from that inspirational message in the morning to an afternoon of putting that inspiration to work and making commitments to live in treaty. And here I have to acknowledge the tremendous work the Indigenous education did to put all of to help us to help those who facilitated the afternoon be amazing at that facilitation work.
Thank you. It was very impressive to see the whole division together. Again, it doesn't happen often, and I just thought that the attention that was given was pretty impressive by all of the staff to both speakers, because sometimes that can get lost in that large group, and that was not the case. There's a real sense of commitment just from the way they reacted to the speaker. So that was pretty impressive. Enhanced 7.7, just information for looking at the multi-year strategic plan.
Right, so through my evaluation process last year with the board, one commitment I made to the board was to find ways to make the multi-year strategic plan that can feel overwhelming at times, more accessible. So I promised you would see enhancements to how we communicate about the plan. And so here you have the latest iteration of the multi-year strategic plan, and making it more accessible to us all, highlighting achievements and next steps. And so here again, I'm inviting trustees to engage with the work. It isn't perfect. We continue to enhance what is there. So you have a desktop view of things here, where you can again choose a given priority, choose a given action, and go deeper and learn more about it. If we just actually adjust the size of the screen, because most of us are actually looking at this from our phones, we can see how this looks on a phone. And so lots of careful work has gone into how to make this accessible, whether you're engaging with the design on a desktop or on a phone.
That's not.
And it isn't a worry if we're not able to show it for folks, if we're not able to make it, okay. Great. So we can see how how it looks on a phone. So even on a phone, the design changes and it's easy to navigate. Of course, what matters most is the content and what we're achieving and how we can show those achievements to each other and what we are still aspiring to achieve between now and 2027.
So this is not just Christian's commitment from the evaluation to work with the multi-year strategic plan in ways that make it more accessible, but it's also our commitment as a board, as it's our strategic plan. So we're going to be making sure that we're connecting with that plan on a more regular basis and on a more personal basis. So this is very helpful.
Oh, and I forgot, I've got to, again, shout out. So again, this is a collective effort. This isn't me. So lots of like communications team, a very small but mighty communications that makes this happen. And I really just a shout out to Cody, who's the author of this design, and everyone who has, as Trustee Nordheim, as our vice chair, has just explained all of the stories, all of the evidence, all of the content. It's an expression of many, many people's hard work.
Okay, there were no requests for any information pulled from correspondence at this point. So we'll move on to action items. So if you could speak to the special board meeting on October 20, Secretary Treasurer. Okay. Oh, I'm not boring you.
No, he's just teaching folks on the side.
I know.
Just for trustees and notice to the community that we're going to call a special board meeting on October 28th. The special board meeting is to, in conjunction with our annual audit. And so this board meeting will commence at 5 p.m. on October 28th. And the purpose of it is to review and approve the audit, financial audit for the previous school year, 2024-2025.
So just to point out, we're trying to compact because that's our retreat day, trying to compact meetings so we're not having more meetings than we need to. So we're including that at the end of that day. It makes it for a longer day, but then just makes sure that we don't have to come several times. So thank you for that. We have the third reading of religious instruction.
Sorry.
Sorry.
This has to go to motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the motion is that a special board meeting be scheduled to commence at 5 p.m. on October 28, 2025 for the purpose of reviewing and approving the financial audit for the 2024-2025 school year. And I get a mover and a seconder. Trustee Walker, Trustee Semignola, Any questions, comments? And so then we will take that to a vote. I made that mistake just so that I would get back at you for the comments that I made. Thank you very much. All right, now we're moving on to bylaw 2025-2026-001.
I'm not getting it on the screen.
Yeah, I'm finding on my list, so I'll do it then.
On religious instruction, French immersion schools serving Sage Creek and Bonavista. Vista. This is our third reading. And it says Superintendent Mishlik will share the letter of petitions. I believe that that's already happened.
Right, so this is the third reading.
That's correct.
So now twice consider the Shining Light of Manitoba request for religious instruction and the petitions that have been signed to support that request.
So then the motion is that bylaw 2025-2026-001 being a bylaw to authorize the instruction of religion at the French immersion schools serving Sage Creek and Bonavista Vista during the period of September 2025 to June 2026 will be received as third reading. Correct?
Correct.
And I have a mover and a seconder, please. Trustee Seminola, Trustee Palmquist. Any questions or comments? This is our third reading, so then I'll call for the vote. Another action item, 9.0, oh, that motion is passed, sorry, carried. 9.3, the suspension of travel to the United States. This was brought to our attention because of the Government of Canada's recommendation. And due to that recommendation and our concern overall for the safety of all of our students, this is the motion. Whereas the Government of Canada recently published a travel advisory warning that federal systems in the US are changing to no longer accept markers of gender identity. Therefore, be it resolved that the board suspend for the foreseeable future travel to the US for students and for members of the Board of Trustees on board business. And I have a mover and a seconder on that. Trustee Turner, Trustee Walker. Questions and or comments? Trustee Sigurdsson.
Yes, apologize, I wasn't present for the germination of this, first chance to speak on it, and I applaud the sentiment and the ideas behind it, the statement, but I'm currently say that I'm opposed to this particular motion, and I fear that we're being perhaps a bit hasty in not considering the implications that may or may not occur from this. I know in the past we have had, this is not a change of policy per se because it's temporary, I suppose, but I'm suggesting that we treat it that way and have first, second, third, maybe dispense with the second, but have perhaps send it back for some feedback and from the stakeholders and find out actually what the implications will be for our students and for our staff. I know our staff are still traveling, I'm assuming. I fear that this may, again, however laudable the goals are, and how much I agree with the goals, and certainly anyone who looks at social media would know that my personal views on what's happening in the United States are quite strong, but I fear that we lose the the connections and the experiences that could be gained by making a point. No matter how good that point is, I fear that that's something that we should consider very carefully and take a little bit of time before making this decision. As it stands now, I would be opposed, but I would strongly recommend that we defer this and take a little bit of time to find out exactly what the implications are from this motion.
Can I just seek some clarification? Can you give some examples of some of the implications that you might be concerned about?
Well, there are groups that would go that would not include this category of person that would have, people may have already put money in, people have plans. This may have been discussed in my absence, I don't know.
And so that's one of the things I just wanted to,
Yeah.
because in the previous meeting, and unfortunately you were at work unavailable, we did go through all of the trips that are currently scheduled. None are scheduled for travel to the US at this point in time. So there's no kind of implications for loss of funding or that kind of thing. So I just needed to make sure
But
that you had that.
there may well be trips that are planned that we don't know about, or trips that may come out. We'd have to bring this motion back at some point. And again, if that's the case, then we're literally only making a point. If we're not actually stopping anyone, actually doing anything, we're only making a point, and I think that's a bit performative. So I would, again, I am opposed, and I would think that we would want to take a little bit more time to think about it. That's my point.
Any other comments or questions on that?
My concern is that if they're not gonna allow all students or some students, I don't think any students should. If they're gonna turn away some of our students, I think we are a community and stand together. Can't allow them to accept some and all.
Trustee Ponca?
As it stands, if we vote on this as is, I plan to support it. However, I would be open-minded to, if we do, if the will of the board to proceed straight to the vote as is, I will vote in favor. However, I would be open-minded to trustee Sigurdsson's suggestion of considering it further, if that's the will of the board. However, like I said, if we decide to proceed, I'll support you.
Okay, Trustee Semignola and
Yeah,
then.
just to clarify,
Sure.
I'll wait my turn if necessary.
No, go ahead.
Just to clarify that we also, I understand that we've looked at, there are no meetings or no trips planned, but currently, but have we canvassed how other people feel about this? Like, how have we canvassed the community, that our staff are? Just throwing that out there.
Okay. Trustee Nemeth, then trustee Semignola.
Thank you. There was a time not too long ago when there were comments made that brought great harm to members of our school division, and the board acted very quickly and clearly to ensure that that was identified as harmful behavior, and that steps were taken to ensure that there was that was clarity around what the board's values were, and that they represented those that were tasked with keeping students and staff safe and free from harm. And I'm going to vote in favor of the motion. I appreciate, and if the board wants to have community dialogue around this, I'm not going to oppose that, of course. But I do believe that there are times when our community wants and expects us to act, and I think this is one of those times. It's been identified that those who would mark a passport in the way that this travel warning mentions are at risk. And given that it seems like a no-brainer to me, quite frankly, and it is something that is temporary, we can revisit it. at any given time. And I want us as a board to be clear on this type of action and what the message is that it sends to our entire divisional community. Thanks.
Thank you. Trustee Semignola?
I think, I echo, Trustee Nemeth. I also understand, Trustee Papa's point that today I do intend to support this motion. But, if other canvassing has to take place, so they can support how long this stays for, since we see it's for the foreseeable future, I understand that as well. But I intend to support this.
Trustee Walker?
I also support the motion, but I'm open-minded to reaching out to the will of.
So the motion is on the table, so I think we'll proceed with a vote with the idea that should we have a discussion, because this is a suspension of travel, not a cancellation of travel for without an end date, we do have room for discussion as we proceed. So I think we'll proceed with the motion today with the vote. I have a mover and a seconder, and so then I'll call for the vote unless there's any other comments. Okay, I'll call for the vote. And that motion is carried. And now we've arrived at public question period. And so that's when our virtual participants and in-person participants can bring forward any questions for clarification. Can I ask our guests at the back, any questions?
None at this time.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I don't think we have anybody online at this point.
We're good.
Other than our trustees.
We're good.
We're good? All right. So thank you very much, everybody. And today's meeting is now adjourned. We'll be coming back to in camera. So I'll give everybody a 5-minute break and then we'll start up again.
Go the Nickheads.
Yeah, he's got your heritage. He's decided that he doesn't. He's excused.
Oh, that's the wrong one. I've done the wrong one.
Yes, exactly. Usually I go to that.
I'm gonna just show you this agenda.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so you don't have to worry about those things.
Might want to turn off the audio.
Oh, thank you.
Back to in camera.